Ah,
Hey,
how
I'm
are you?
here. I'm doing good.
Can you hear us? Are we all good to go?
Yeah, I can hear good.
All right.
All right.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you both for taking the time to join me here at Shutter 16 Magazine today. We're excited about the new EP, which is going to be released tomorrow. So, how excited are both of you?
Very
Very
excited.
excited.
It's been a
Yeah.
long time coming. I think we started the EP in like October, so it's been like 6, 7 months. We've been kind of just itching to release it.
Gotcha. Gotcha. But before we dive into the new EP, I thought that maybe one of you or both of you could tell us just a little bit about the history of Electric Animals and kind of how you got to the point where the two of you are today.
Oh yeah, I can start. We started back in I would say 2018. It was the end of 2018. We started with about four of us, and then we added Will a couple years after that, just playing shows, releasing singles, the typical band grind. And then a majority of the members decided it just wasn't for them anymore, and they packed up and left. And it was kind of me and Will sitting there with a decision to make, and it was either we continue the band and we either try to find new members or we continue it some other way, or we kind of give up on it as well and then start a side project, which funny enough we were going to call it A Bear in the Bowl, which is what the EP title came to be.
Nice.
So as you can see, we decided not to throw in the towel, and we kind of thought, what if we tried this thing with just two of us and just wrote songs together and played together, and then we hire kind of people out for live shows, and it's been working surprisingly really well for both of us, I would say. So that's kind of everything in a nutshell.
Well, I guess we can get right into the EP then. A Bear in the Bowl. So don't need to ask where the title of that came from because you just told
Yeah.
us that story. But maybe both of you could answer this one. And could you describe the EP, or would you describe the EP in just 3 or 4 words? What would be like some buzzwords for the CD?
Take it
Hmm.
away, Willie, first.
Uh, I would say it is uh, simple, catchy, and atmospheric.
Okay, agree.
I would say kind of along those lines, fun, catchy, and deep. I guess is a simple word to use. I think it's a lot deeper. We tend to describe it as just like fun, kind of almost party like songs, but I think it is a lot deeper than that.
Absolutely. I think one of the things that caught me when I first listened to it was that overall it had such an upbeat, positive vibe. But if you sit and you really listen to the lyrics and you think about the songs, it goes on definitely a deeper level in many respects. And, the one thing that came to my mind is there's a lot of old school stuff in this EP. I'm old school, so when I say old school, I mean I'm going back a ways, but it's also it sounds just so fresh. So it's kind of like some of the old bands from maybe the late 80s, even like Depeche Mode or The Cure or something like that, but more positive, at least musically, and maybe like a less dark version of it. So, what kind of bands kind of put their mark on you both musically?
You
Well,
just said a few of them.
we're
In fact, a lot of the stuff we're already writing for the next full album, and there's a lot of Cure influences in there. Nick and I both absolutely love In Excess. That's one of our favorite bands that we both agree on. I mean, 80s stuff. We love the 80s. Um, but that Nick loves a lot of the 90s stuff too. If you want to talk about that, Nick.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm super into 80s, 90s. It's like the 90s, mid to late 90s alt rock, which is like the Third Eye Blinds, the Jim Blossom's Eve Six, like all those alt rock bands were huge influence on me. And the funny thing about this EP is I think a lot of our older projects or older bands, or especially me, I tried to like hide that because I thought we needed to be this like newer band. Like we couldn't kind of be this nostalgia act that sometimes bands can fall into. And I think for this EP, we like threw that out the window. We're like, let's just be what we are, what we're inspired by, what we grew up listening to, that we love still to this day. And if it's modern, then cool. And if it's not, then we love it, you know? And so that's awesome that you said those things because they really do influence us, those kind of bands.
I think the EP is really cool because it does give you a sense of a kind of throwback to that era and those bands, but it doesn't sound dated. It doesn't sound like you popped out a CD from 1988 or 1989 and put it on. It sounds like it belongs for today. So I think it would have really mass appeal because it would hit the people that grew up in that era as well as, young fans now who are looking for some new music to listen to.
It's great. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the making of the EP and kind of what went into it as far as the songwriting goes. What do you guys kind of do? What things inspire you? And do you work as a team? How does that go?
We work pretty well as a team. We kind of just take turns at the song, sending it back and forth. It'll start in my home studio behind me here. I'll get up every morning, and while it's still quiet outside, I just make some coffee and start listening for something to pop into my head, and then I'll start building on it. So sometimes it starts with like bass guitar, sometimes it'll start with a drum beat, and then or piano, whatever it is. I hear something, go with it, build on it, and then I'll send something to Nick sometimes as early as like 9 or 10 a.m. and he'll put vocals on it, send it back. We'll be like, wow, we love this. This is great. And we might work on it for another day or two, and then we'll catalog it until it's time to go to the studio. And then we'll look back on all the demos that we've made and choose what we think fits together, what's strongest, what we still love, maybe what we don't love anymore. So we got a little system going on.
Nice, nice. And you mentioned your little home studio there. Is that where you recorded the whole EP, or did you send stuff out?
No, we record with we have a producer in town here who has a much nicer studio than I have.
Gotcha.
And he's also kind of like a secret third member. He's very close with us.
Okay.
So we also share demos with him, see what he thinks. And then he's got a really good vision of sound and how to achieve certain sounds. So we go to his studio just on the other side of town to retrack everything when we really record.
Now, being that it's just the two of you right now in the band, did you play all the instruments yourself? Did you bring in some outside help on the EP at all? I know you did have somebody on vocals for one of the songs, but the majority of it was just the two of you, or how did that work?
Yeah, the
Yeah. So
majority.
go ahead, Will. You know more about this than I do.
Yeah, majority is me on the instruments and then Nick doing all the vocals. But we reached out to someone named Lincoln Parrish to do lead guitar on the song. So I would have some lead lines in the songs, but I really kind of wish they were cooler because I'm a drummer originally. So lead guitar is not my specialty. I mean, I can write songs and I can play guitar, but we were looking for somebody with maybe a little bit more pizzazz, a little style. So we DM'd Lincoln Parrish, who was the original lead guitarist for Cage the Elephant. And he liked our demos and was happy to record lead guitar over the songs. And then we had our friend Chandra DeSantis sing backup vocals on all the songs as well.
Nice, nice. What about touring? Are you guys gonna take this on the road? Do you have any shows booked already, or how's that gonna work?
Nick?
We absolutely hope so. I mean, that's our biggest goal, I think, is to take the show on the road. We've had two small tours before. We just got back. Well, not just got back, but recently with a tour with Unlikely Candidates. We didn't do too many dates. I think we did like 4 or 5 dates, but that kind of gave us the taste that we really want to take it on the road for the long haul. So I'm hoping, and we're hoping, that this EP can kind of start the demand for us to tour. And I mean, that's all we can hope. And if it does, then we're out of here. So fingers crossed.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think these songs would be great to hear live. So I'm hoping that that works out for you guys. Um, what would be the one thing that you want people to know about Electric Animals and your music?
Nick, you can take that one.
Well,
Thanks,
as you can
because
tell,
that's the hard one.
yeah, as I was deep in thought. That we're just two, I guess, just two regular guys that love music, and we just want people to feel what we felt when we first started, listening to the bands we love. I still remember, like, you remember those moments when you were 14, 15, all the way through your life where you hear bands or you hear songs and you're just like, I love that. And we just want to like share that experience because it helps you through a lot in life. And sometimes you don't even realize what songs or music can do in like the biggest struggles of your life and how they can kind of guide you through. And that person doesn't even know they're helping. And it's kind of the most beautiful thing about music.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%. Which kind of leads into the next question. And I always ask this, and some people have a hard time with it, and that's okay. But I always ask, what song kind of had the biggest influence on you, both as a musician and just personally? Is there something that sticks out in memory?
Would you say our music or somebody
No,
else's?
and what first kind of drew you in and has had the biggest influence on you? Is there a certain song maybe from when you were younger or something that has carried a lot of meaning over the years?
I've had so many. I think the first thing that comes to my mind is when I was really young. My mom would give me tapes of like Buddy Holly and just 50s artists like that. And I would just listen to them constantly. And I think I don't always acknowledge that like as the moment, but when I think of moments, like very fond moments where I remember the songs, I remember like the Buddy Holly and all the kind of like on tape, just listening to like the single song over and over and over again. I think that's what got me into like writing catchy, like memorable music, was hearing those like simplistic choruses, but you sing them throughout life when you don't even realize they're in your head, and you'll start singing them, and it kind of stuck with me.
Awesome. What about you, Will?
I've been talking about this a lot lately, but I mean, it's totally true. I got hooked on classic rock because I got a Led Zeppelin CD, and that's always stuck with me. The song was "Good Times, Bad Times." It's the first song on their Best Of album, and the drums come in, and I was like, "That's what I got to do." And like I only listened to classic rock in high school. It wasn't until like after high school that I got into indie rock and more into the kind of stuff that I make now. But at first, it was just all classic rock.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you've got to go back to a classic rock band that kind of set you on the path that you're on, I couldn't think of a better one than Led Zeppelin to do that
Yeah.
for. Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time to chat with me today. I appreciate it. It was a pleasure. And we have A Bear in the Bowl coming out tomorrow. I hope that everybody takes a listen to it because I think so many people kind of just put new music on the back burner and don't really take the time to check it out. And they're missing out on something really cool here and really great. So I hope that you guys get to take it on the road too, because I'd love to hear these songs out in a club somewhere or a venue or a stadium or a festival or wherever
Yeah.
the future lands you guys.
Sure.
Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.